Good morning. So here goes. My first Periscope. For those of you who have been following my blogs, I'm on LinkedIn at Mark Pettipas, Marcpetitpas. I quit. I quit blogging. I wanted to find another way. I wanted to find a way to share lessons I've learned, mistakes I've made, tools I use, all the great content that I've picked up, and try and make it real life for people who are developing and growing and looking to advance their careers. So here's my first Periscope, and today's first Periscope will be really about social media, a place I spend probably too much time for a leader, but I love it. I love it because, as you can tell, if I'm on Periscope, I'm a bit of a chatterbox already. It's something my mom passed down to me, was the gift of gab, as they say, and it's something I love to do because it's an easier way to tell stories, and I believe they make more sense when you see each other face to face. Thanks, Richard Caniff. I appreciate the comment. Funny of you to say that Richard works nights. For those who are following my Periscope, he just made a little comment here. I've known Richard since I was a child, and he suggested that he would listen to me before he went to bed. Anyways, today's Periscope, again, is about social media and recognition is where I wanted to start. And I have about 10 minutes here at the beginning of my day. I do have a day job that I take very seriously that usually trails into the night as a function of our business, so I don't mind spending a couple minutes in the morning. Okay, enough of a background. For those of you who follow my blogs on LinkedIn, I have about 30,000 views, but I've written about 100 blogs, so the ratio ain't that great. But I'm not a fantastic writer. I believe I'm better when I speak face to face. So today I want to talk about social media's recognition. There, long story short, the setup is done. It's a great tool, and it's a great way to engage. But like any form of recognition or performance management, you need your team members' approval and buy-in to that public forum. So, I don't know how many of you out there do connection meetings. Before you start at any role and lead any team, you should have a connection meeting with your team. What I do in that first meeting is I find out someone's background. We talk about their experience. We talk about what they're trying to do in their role, where they got there, what they want to do with their life, about their families. It's really, a good connection meeting, hence the name. Talk about them. And one of the major things I talk about is how do you like to receive criticism, but also how do you like to receive recognition? So how do you recognize people? A guy like me, as you can tell, if I'm periscoping, I do like the spotlight a little bit. I am not shy. And if someone wanted to recognize me in front of a group, I'm all for that. But that's not everybody. Everybody's not wired that way. You put someone in front of a room because they've done something well and you're really trying to recognize them, and you can have the counter effect. You could do the exact reverse. They're scared. They don't like groups. They're not going to want to repeat the behavior because they're not going to want to be singled out in front of a group. Well, social media is the exact same thing. So do you have a connection meeting getting permission to recognize an individual in that space? Assuming that, and they are comfortable with that, you got to be careful about which forum. You don't want to be jumping onto their Facebook page if they're Facebook friends already, and that's a whole other Periscope conversation. But if they are, and that level of trust is there, and recognize them for their work if they don't want you on their page. You got to find environments that are comfortable and that are business related. So as an example, some of my sales professionals here at the company I work at now, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a vice president for a company called Fusion Homes, and I oversee all of our sales in the province of Ontario for our low-rise houses that we build and our high-rise condominium projects. But I have some great sales professionals who are on Twitter, and they are doing business on Twitter. So when they do something great, I will recognize them in that forum with A, their permission that they know I'm going to do it, and B, the environment that is. It's okay when people are following them for insight on high-rise condos to say, you're dealing with the best, and here's what she did this week, and we're lucky to have you on our team. The other piece is blogs, even though, as I mentioned at the beginning of this Periscope, I quit blogging. I quit blogging because there's a million bloggers starving in the world, and I was trying to be one. Is that laughter on the other end of this, I hear? I'm not quite sure how Periscopes work. Are people laughing out there? Because that was a joke. I got a heart. That's a good thing, I think. But blogging wasn't the environment for me. I'm not an overly strong writer. It's a function of my business. And actually, to be quite honest, the reason I started blogging was one of the things was that I had to improve upon as a senior executive was my writing skills. Well, what a great environment to get involved in in that forum to be able to share my thoughts. If you do want to look at my blogs, as I mentioned, I've got quite a few. You can find me on LinkedIn. But I use those blogs for recognition. And, I didn't go out there and say, well, employee X, Y, and Z are great, and thanks for looking at my LinkedIn profile. I wrote a blog about a business subject. So as an example, one of them was launching a project. And it was related to this high-rise, but I was giving tips and tricks about how to launch a project, whether that be opening a soccer stadium in professional sports, which I did in my past, opening a store in retail, which I have in my past. I've done everything from shaking fries at McDonald's all the way to working at Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment in boardrooms and opening stadiums and overseeing sports teams, facilities, and where you bought your hot dog, where you bought your beers, et cetera, et cetera. But I share those stories. But in those stories, I find a way to provide recognition. So on this high-rise project, the team did a fantastic job. Excuse me. So I found a way to call out those individuals who are on LinkedIn by putting their names in there, and it allowed them to be part of that story. So everyone who read that blog was reading for a purpose, but was able to see the recognition for those individuals, and that made those individuals comfortable. At the end of the day, one of the things I get all the time is, well, why would you do that? I mean, what if there are competitors reading your blogs and now they know who all your good people are? So the fuck what? So you don't think you're going to lose your good people and the word's going to get out that they're good anyways? It's going to happen. Why not provide the recognition better than anyone else in your industry does, or that a potential recruiter does, that they're going to want to stay with you anyways? If they're getting that from you and they're not getting it from anyone else, chances are they're not going to leave. You can't lead by fear. And recognition, I find sometimes, is held back because executive leaders don't want people to know who their good people are. Really? Like, really? I don't buy it. But sadly, a lot of leaders do. Take the forum, recognize your people. What are they getting out of it? What is everybody reading the blog getting out of it? So I use LinkedIn very aggressively for that. If you looked at my thank you, Epic Kitchen, so smart. Something I haven't heard in years. I appreciate it. Kidding. Well, kind of. I use LinkedIn to use those tools in a business professional way. Twitter, as I shared, I kind of stay away from Facebook. For me, Facebook it's personal space, it really is. I leave it to the individual to take the recognition or share the blog that I wrote on LinkedIn on their page. Let them take ownership in that recognition and share it in that format. I also hoping they take the Twitter link and bring it to their Facebook page, but it's such a difficult place to be. It's personal space. If you look at a blog I wrote, it sounds like I'm pushing my blogs that I quit, but I'm really not. I just hope in this little 10-minute Periscope, if anything resonates, you can go back and read them. I spoke about companies pushing their employees to push their stuff on social media. And even contesting. I'm not a big fan for it. Do it right, do it authentic. If they believe in your company, they'll share. It's the same piece with recognition. Don't go into their personal space with Facebook. Let them go and get the content in the business forums and let them share. They may even write a comment like, boy, I'm lucky to work at such a great place. Here's what my boss wrote about me today. Anyways, at the end of the day, that was my quick little Periscope. I hope to do these every week. They'll generally be earlier. They'll be either 7:30 in the morning or they'll be 7:30 at night to be respectful to my work day. I only did this one at 8:15 because I got a longer day looking ahead of me tonight in the sales center, so I couldn't cram it in anywhere else. If you like these, send me a note. I'm on Twitter at @mpettipaw. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Just don't come talk to me on Facebook. It's my personal space. Don't come to Facebook. I don't know if you got that already. Stay away from my Facebook. I'm kidding. You can connect with me wherever you want. But respect people's opinions on what those spaces mean. Lots of green hearts. I think that's a good thing. I'll figure this out as we go. I'm lying a little bit there. A lady by the name of Lisa Lauder inspired me to do these. She's phenomenal. If you're not following Lisa Lauder, you should be. And you should be picking up her books. She was my boss about 15 years ago. And I believe I became a better leader in those years I worked for her. Anyways, thank you all. Have a great day. And thanks for following my first Periscope. Cheers, all. Oh, go Habs, go.